Today we're going to be talking about how wide receivers can remember their press releases. Fellas, when it comes to press releases, you have to keep things super simple off the line of scrimmage. If you're playing a game and you're facing a team that comes with a lot of different press coverage looks, or maybe you're going to a camp, or maybe you're playing 7-on-7, and you're going to be faced with press, keep it simple. And by simple, I mean you should have literally 5 to 6 different press releases in your head. That's it. You shouldn't be walking into a game with like 10 to 12 different releases. You got all this scattered in your head. You come up to the line and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? And then the ball snaps, and then you actually don't do anything and you just run and get jammed to the sideline. Literally 5 to 6 releases, you guys, is all you need. Maybe even less than that. You could probably get away with 3 to 4 releases that you're super comfortable with and super disciplined with. Now, how do you pick those releases? And it's all based off of how DBs line up. So obviously, like let's say this red cone's line of scrimmage, yellow cone's DB, inside shade press. You should have a release for inside shade press and for all the different press coverage looks that you'll see. Throughout this video, we're gonna give you actual examples of releases I like versus those, and how you could structure that in your mind so when you see it in a game, you know exactly what to do and you could play fast. Also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we're gonna be traveling out to 15 different cities across the entire US for 2-day long, guys, 2-day long QB and wide receiver training camp. So check out that very first link in that description below if you guys would like to attend. We're gonna be coming out to San Francisco, California, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona. All 3 of those camps, though, you guys, like literally, our San Francisco camp's completely sold out. Orlando, we have like 5 spots left. Phoenix, we have like 8 spots left, so make sure you take advantage of that. After that, we'll be coming out to Charlotte, North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Las Vegas, Nevada, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, Newark, New Jersey, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, Boise, Idaho, and finishing it off in Los Angeles, California. So guys, local to any one of those cities, all of those camps will sell out. I'm telling you this right now so you don't miss out on getting a spot. So very first link in that description below. We'd love to have you there. All right, so we're gonna be going over different press coverage situations that you will see and some great releases that at least I like to use versus these press coverage situations, right? So let's say you walk up to the line of scrimmage, you should like have a pre-plan. If the DB comes out in this look, this is what I'm gonna do. So all you have to really worry about is that when you come up to the line is just to make a pre-snap identification of what his leverage is and what type of press coverage he is playing. So let's say the yellow cone is the DB, inside shade press right up on the ball. Release I like to use on this would be a crossover release, which is where you step in the direction you're going first, make him think like you're trying to cross his face to get him to hold his leverage, and then you attack to the outside. So I come up to the line, say break the huddle, I come out, inside shade press, bam, I already know what I'm gonna do, set go, 1, 2, and then I'm up into the route. That's how fast that decision-making process needs to be, but you need to pre-plan that. Now we're gonna go over 2 other situations that you might see if you're confused on what to use. Now let's say I walk up to the line of scrimmage, fellas, and this yellow cone is where the DB is, which is head-up press coverage. So if he's in head-up press, that means that like a couple different things, right? Head-up press means that this DB could be trying to disguise a leverage, right? So I come off the ball is snapped, he might jump to the inside. So my thought process can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the inside right now. Let's say he might jump to play outside shade press to screw up the timing of the route. So if I see head up press, a release I like to use is something called a split release. So a split release is where my back foot goes up and my front foot goes out, and I split. Now the reason why I split is so I could react off of him, but also maybe give him a move if he decides to sit right there. A lot of times press releases are about reacting, and I recommend at least having 1 to 2 releases that are based off of reacting to this DB. So I split, and let's say shades inside, okay, cool, because when you do this split release, both feet come to balance. You could go either way. So he shades inside, all right, I go outside. I split, he goes outside, okay, I go inside. I do this split and he stays, maybe I give him a little move and I release to the outside. So you could do either one of those when you're facing head up press if you use that split release, and that's why I like to use it. Now when it comes to picking a press release, obviously we talked about like leverage of the DB. Is he inside, is he head up, is he outside? But another thing that you have to pay attention to is the distance he has away from you. I think there's really 6 situations that you have to worry about as a DB. Inside shade press, head up press, outside shade press, inside shade catch, which is like 2 to 3 off, head up catch 2 to 3 off, and then outside shade 2 to 3 off. And the reason why you gotta pay attention to that distance is that your release has to change in the sense that you need to bring the line of scrimmage to the DB to make a move, and I'll explain why in a second. So let's say I have outside shade catch technique where the DB's 2 to 3 yards off. If I had outside shade press, a release I would use is just a quick jab. And then what I would do is I would get right up into my route. I would try to get skinny, which means run right past that DB's hip so I could stack him, which means he's trailing behind me. So when I get to the top of the break, I maybe give him a move and get some space. Now, if he's 2 to 3 yards off, let's say I do that same jab, but there's a big gap of space. He jumps. I try to go to the inside. That DB, because there's this gap of space, can cut off my angle. So if I have this like 2 to 3 yards off outside shade press, I'm not going to use just a jab step. I'm going to use something called the triple step. Now, triple step is pretty simple. It's just 3 steps, but your first 2 steps close the space, and then the third step is the same jab step you would do off the line. You just take 2 steps to close the space, so when I give him a move, I get right past him and not allow him to cut off my angle, so I go get up into my route.